Hello students, a very good evening to all of you. Welcome to my channel. This is a very important class on Know Your Text series part 5, and today we will discuss the summaries of those works which have been asked in your West Bengal Set 2022 exam paper. But before starting, I want to give you a brief introduction about myself. My name is Brishti Mukherjee. I have qualified NTA UGC NET exam in English literature 3 times and have also qualified West Bengal Set examination. I have 2 years of teaching experience. Moreover, I have also taught in NPTEL online course from IIT Madras 3 times. So that is all about myself. This is the link of my Telegram channel. So those of you who have not joined yet, please join to get notification of all important classes. And also please don't forget to like, share and subscribe my YouTube channel so that many more new learners can join. Good evening Subhash, good evening Cherry, good evening Shushmita and Virendra. Welcome. तो जो भी स्टूडेंट्स वीडियो को देख रहे हो एक बार प्लीज लाइक एंड शेयर कर देना ताकि और भी स्टूडेंट ज्वाइन कर सके. So this will be a very short class. Today we will talk about 4 major works, literary works, not the criticism works, literary works which have been asked in your West Bengal Set exam paper. And this is part of your Know Your Text series, and other remaining texts we will also do in the course of time. These are the timings of the classes: Monday to Friday at 8:30 p.m, Saturday, Sunday off. So don't forget to join me live. Please subscribe the channel and press the bell icon to get notification. So let's start summaries of literary works asked in West Bengal Set 2022. We have actually started this series with the summaries of European classics, but I am taking this class because we have already started discussing concepts asked in West Bengal Set. So this video is part of that series. Good evening Prashant, welcome. Okay, so our first work is Who is Afraid of Virginia Woolf, published in 1962. So there is a question asked in the question paper that the character of an imaginary child appears in which work? And the answer will be Who is Afraid of Virginia Woolf. So we will discuss the detailed summary of this particular work. Good evening Moshumi, good evening Rakesh, welcome. So Who is Afraid of Virginia Woolf? It is actually a play written by Edward Albee. It's a play. And it is divided into 3 acts. The titles are very interesting: Fun and Games, Walpurgisnacht and Exorcism. Fun and Games, Walpurgisnacht and Exorcism. These are the 3 acts in which the play is divided. Good evening Shravani, welcome. But actually the title is very interesting. It is talking about Who is Afraid of Virginia Woolf. Virginia Woolf, the modern novelist, is not referred to here. There is no relation. This play has no relation with Virginia Woolf, obviously not, because she was a great modern novelist. We should not be afraid of her, right? So yes, right, Shravani, success myth is also employed here. So Who is Afraid of Virginia Woolf? Actually this title is a parody of a children's rhyme. जिस rhyme का नाम था Who is Afraid of the Big Fat Wolf. So Edward Albee has made a parody of that and he has given the title Who is Afraid of Virginia Woolf, but there is no relation with Virginia Woolf. Yes, absolutely right, Shravani. George and Martha are the main characters. So main protagonist is George, who is actually an associate professor of the Department of History, and his wife Martha is the daughter of the president of that university. That university means the university where George worked as an associate professor. So Martha is the daughter of the president of that university. Good evening Barsha, welcome. And so what is the plot of the play? The play opens with the couple returning from a party. Actually, with this incident, the first act starts. The first act opens with the couple returning from a party. एक friendly cocktail party था, ठीक है? So after returning from the party, they expect Nick and his wife Honey to come at 2 a.m. in their house. And who was Nick? Nick was actually a biologist who recently joined in the same university where George worked as an associate professor. So George के colleague है Nick. So they expect Nick and his wife Honey to come at 2 a.m., not 2 p.m. Okay, 2 a.m. at night. Yes, Nick and Honey. Good evening, welcome. George is planning now. What happens that finally Nick and Honey came there, and George is planning to write a novel. And this particular plan he shares with Nick. He tells Nick a story of a boy who killed his mother and caused his father to die. So that is the kind of sensational plot of the novel written by George. And George, the novel is not completed. George is trying to write it. He has made a blueprint and he is sharing the story, the main plot, with his colleague Nick. Now the story is also very surprising, that a boy who killed his mother and caused his father to die. Now, Nick reveals that he marries Honey as she was apprehensive of pregnancy, which is false. So, Nick has also very peculiar attitude. Nick is also badly needed a child. So, he expresses that yes, the main purpose of marrying Honey, because Honey fascinates, that she is going to deliver a child, which is actually not true. So the whole play is actually talking about dream of a child, and ultimately it is revealed that the child which George and Martha are talking about, that is actually false, or not exactly false, but that is actually imaginary. So Nick has that kind of relationship with Honey, which means that this relationship is based on a kind of contract, that if you give me a child, then I will marry you, that kind of thing. Now, basically, Nick is a very greedy man and also immoral, which is also revealed in the course of the play. Now, when the second act starts, in the second act, Martha and Honey dance erotically. So, there is a kind of homosexual bonding between these two women. Martha and Honey dance erotically, and Martha teases George's attempts of writing a novel, which is very much ridiculous to her. Now, Honey leaves when George tells a fable indicating at her pregnancy. So, Honey feels very disturbed or very upset when George starts another story. George starts a fable, and that particular fable is very much related to Honey's hysterical nature. So Honey feels very much embarrassed, and she leaves that house. Now Nick and Martha get intimate in the kitchen. George hears everything from outside and he decides to tell her that their son is already dead. So just to take revenge on just to take revenge on Martha, George reveals that their son is already dead, and George imagines that after listening this truth, Martha will not be able to carry any relationship with Nick. Okay, Rajkishore, good evening, welcome. So George decides to tell her that their son is already dead, and finally, in the last act, exorcism, it is revealed that the characters are all in an illusory state. They come out of their illusion, and it is also revealed that the child is fictional, based on a story from George's childhood. So that was actually the question asked in your exam, that imaginary child, the character of imaginary child occurred in which particular text. So that is in Who is Afraid of Virginia Woolf, and the imaginary child is imagined by George and Martha. So the child is fictional, based on the story of George's childhood, and that is how the illusion is broken. So this is about the play Who is Afraid of Virginia Woolf. Okay, going for Gujarat Set exam, Ahmedabad. Okay, Rajkishore, all the very best for your exam. I hope you will crack this exam also. Okay, so moving on to next work, that is the tragedy of Dido, Queen of Carthage. There was this question that after coming from ऐसे करके कुछ था, whom did Dido speak first? So that was the question, and the answer was Ilioneus. So the tragedy of Dido, Queen of Carthage, published in 1594, and you all know it's a very famous play written by Christopher Marlowe. It is actually the first important work written by Marlowe. That is why important. Again, a play and it is based on three important books of Virgil's Aeneid. That is why Dido का नाम mention है, Aeneas का नाम mention है, who are all characters from Virgil's Aeneid. So Marlowe based his play The Tragedy of Dido, Queen of Carthage, on Aeneid. So this is another important information जो कि आपके next exam में आ सकता है. And this is also important that this play was not only written by Marlowe but also Thomas Nash collaborated with him. So it's a joint work written by Christopher Marlowe and Thomas Nash. So that is why important. Now, basic theme kya hai? It is obviously talking about a sad love story. What happens that Dido falls in love with Aeneas, but he leaves her and she commits suicide. So that is the plot of the play. If we consider it, if we tell it in one sentence, that Dido falls in love with Aeneas and Dido commits suicide finally when Aeneas leaves her. So very, very similar story of Hero and Leander, right? Hero and Leander, almost similar, not exactly same, but almost similar. This is also a kind of tragic love story, right? So this play is also talking about the love affair between Dido and Aeneas. Now look at the detailed plot. Um, Good evening, Suman. Welcome. Okay. Virendra, Rajkishore has sent the question paper of West Bengal set 2022 in our official Telegram group. So I will suggest that go to the previous chat and you will definitely find it out. Good evening, Suman. Welcome. Okay, so coming back to Tragedy of Dido main plot, the play starts with Juno and Jupiter. All are mythical characters. So Jupiter falls in love with Ganymede. You all know the famous homosexual man actually, Ganymede, and he informs him that Juno is betraying him out of jealousy. So Ganymede informs Jupiter that your wife Juno is not at all faithful to you. She is betraying you. And Venus warns Jupiter that he is neglecting his son Aeneas. Just to divert his attention from Juno, Venus tells Jupiter that he is neglecting his son Aeneas. And what happens that Aeneas is lost in a storm and is found out by Venus. What happened to Aeneas? Venus कह रहा है कि जुपिटर नेग्लेक्ट कर रहा है अपने सन को, तो एनियस के साथ क्या हुआ है? Aeneas is lost in a storm and is found out by Venus ultimately. Now, the surviving Trojans, talking about Trojan War, the surviving Trojans, including Aeneas, they receive great hospitality from Dido, Queen of Carthage. So, Queen of Carthage, Dido से वो बहुत ज़्यादा hospitality receive कर रहे हैं. Dido is cordially welcoming them and giving them shelter. Now, during that particular staying, Dido falls in love with Aeneas, and Dido has a suitor जिसका नाम था Airbus, who plans to take revenge on Dido and also on Aeneas. So when Dido falls in love with Aeneas, obviously Airbus gets jealous of Aeneas and he decides to put an end of this relationship. So now what happens that Aeneas suddenly decides to go to Italy because he has an unfinished work. So वो काम वो voyage उनको पूरा करना था, इसलिए वो कह रहे हैं कि I will go to Italy. Now Dido feels very sad, but Dido puts Ascanius, the disguised Cupid, with Aeneas so that their relationship may continue. तो Dido Cupid को उसके साथ भेज रहे हैं and in a disguised form of Ascanius. Okay. Now what happens that she announces that Aeneas will be the future king of Carthage, and she also warns that if anyone opposes this decision, he or she will be killed. So she already announces that I am the queen and Aeneas will be the future king of Carthage. But Aeneas rejects the offer as he must leave because it is actually the instruction of Jupiter that he should go to Italy. So Aeneas cannot deny that because it was his father's order. So Aeneas rejects the offer and he tells Dido that he cannot deny, he cannot leave there. He actually must go to Italy. Now, listening that, Dido feels very sad, and Dido realizes that their relationship has come to an end. So, Dido commits suicide by jumping into a funeral pyre. That is the sad ending of the life of Dido, just for her love of Aeneas. So, this is the summary of tragedy of Dido, Queen of Carthage. Mhm. Okay, thank you. Thank you so much, Suman. Thank you so much. Okay. हाँ, I hope so. जल्द ही 1K हो जाएगा for all of your support. So thank you all for supporting me. Yes, absolutely. You are all of you are my old student who are connected with me since the starting of the channel. So thank you all. Acha, got it, ma'am. Okay, Virendra. So this is about tragedy of Dido, Queen of Carthage. Moving on to next work, A Fine Balance. This is also asked that which novel of Rohinton mystery was set during the time of Indian emergency. So the answer was A Fine Balance, published in 1995. So what is the summary of this work? A Fine Balance, written by Rohinton Mystery. Obviously, it's a novel, and it is set on the backdrop of Indian emergency. You all know about this emergency. I need not to explain it. So what is the main plot? Manek Kohla. Manek Kohla is a student who has rented a room in a city, and on his way he meets two tailors. दो टेलर के साथ उसका इंट्रोडक्शन हो रहा है, ईश्वर दर्जी एंड ओम प्रकाश दर्जी. These two tailors, Manek Kohla, he met with these two tailors, Ishwar Darji and Om Prakash Darji. Now, वो लोग कहाँ जा रहे हैं? They are going to meet Deena Dalal, who gets sewing jobs. Sorry, to get sewing jobs. So Deena Dalal ये एक नया सा मतलब अलग सा कैरेक्टर है जिसका इंट्रोडक्शन हो रहा है नॉवेल में, और वो क्या करते हैं? वो सबको जॉब्स प्रोवाइड करते हैं. So these two tailors, they are visiting Deena Dalal to get some sewing jobs. Obviously, they are tailors, so they are expecting to get sewing jobs. Now, who was Deena Dalal? She is a female character. She lives in a rent controlled apartment. रेंट कंट्रोल्ड अपार्टमेंट मीन्स वो एक ऐसे हाउस में रहते हैं जिसमें वो सबको रेंट देते हैं, ठीक है. दैट इज वाई रेंट कंट्रोल्ड अपार्टमेंट. So she was a widow. She is a widow who wants to maintain her financial independence. That is why she lives alone and she refuses to go to her brother's house. And वो क्या करते हैं? वो एक बड़ा सा मकान पर रहते हैं and वो सबको वहां पर रेंट में रखता है. So that is the source of her financial income. Okay, so Dina lives in that rent controlled apartment. Now, Darjis are considered, these two particular characters, Ishwar Darji and Om Prakash Darji, they are the marginalized characters. At that time, Darjis are considered untouchables. And there was a sad story. Another very dominating character is there, Thakur Dharamshi, who kills so many of them. So many of them means so many of the people of Darji community. So Thakur Dharam se kya kar rahe? He was a powerful man, a kind of baron-like person. So he killed. He was very ruthless. He killed so many people of Darji community, and so they were very much afraid of their lives. So they were actually moving to the city to get a job, a sewing job in the apartment of Deena Dalal. Now Manek is living another rented room in the same city, but that particular room or that particular hostel where Manek was living, it was very dirty and very uncomfortable to live. So Manek also finds a room in Deena's apartment. तो ये दोनों दर्जी भी आ रहे हैं वहां पर जॉब्स के लिए, एंड मानिक भी, वो भी जिस जगह पर रहते थे रेंट में, तो वो जगह भी बहुत अच्छा नहीं था, इसलिए मानिक भी यहाँ पर आ रहे हैं टू फाइंड अ रूम इन दीनाज अपार्टमेंट. Okay, now what happens that obviously सबके साथ उसका इंट्रोडक्शन हो रहा है, and finally Manek and Om means Om Prakash Darji, they become the best friends because they are of same age, so they become best friends. Now Manek gets depressed seeing the condition of people during 1975, during emergency. He gets very depressed seeing the bad condition of people, and what happens that Om Prakash Darji's family was destroyed by Thakur Dharamshi, and Om spits at Thakur to take revenge of that, and in return Thakur orders Om to be castrated. So very sad fortune for Om Prakash Darji. Now Manek flees away from that particular place, and Manek doesn't know about anything. He takes a job in Dubai, and he doesn't know that Om is castrated actually. He takes a job in Dubai and does not return until his father's funeral in 1984. Good evening, Mukesh. Welcome. So he came back when his father died in 1984. Now, when he came back to the city again, obviously he went to meet Dina, because in her apartment he lived for so many years, and he also went to talk to his friend. Now, when Manek comes again to meet Tina, he comes to know that the two tailors are now beggars. तो जिनके साथ वो रहते थे, जो उनके रूममेट्स थे, ओम प्रकाश दर्जी और ईश्वर दर्जी, वो दोनों ही अब बेगर बन गए, ये उनको दीना के पास से पता चलता है. अच्छा, ओके राजकिशोर, नो प्रॉब्लम, वॉच द रिकॉर्डिंग लेटर. He comes to know that the two tailors are now beggars, and Manek becomes very much depressed. He at last commits suicide out of depression. And suicide कैसे commit करता है? By jumping in front of a train. Manek commits suicide by jumping in front of a train, and he is very much depressed hearing the sad story of his friends, and he is also he is also disheartened seeing the sad condition of people during emergency. Okay, so this is the summary of a fine balance. Now I move on to next work and the last work of today's class, that is the Unconsoled, published in 1995. ये question आया था कि which of the following novels is not written by Peter Handke? Not written by Peter Handke. तो आंसर था Unconsoled, because this is a novel written by Kazuo Ishiguro, जिन्होंने लिखा था Remains of the Day. Yes. So written by Kazuo Ishiguro, and this particular novel takes place over a period of 3 days. This particular novel takes place over a period of 3 days, and what happens that क्या इसका story है? A rider, a famous pianist, arrives in a central European city to perform a concert. So main character है rider, who is a famous pianist. Okay, and he arrives in a central European city to perform a concert. Now he is entangled in a wave of appointments and promises which he cannot seem to remember, struggling to fulfill his commitment. तो इसके इसके इस नॉवेल का डिटेल समरी मुझे नहीं मिला, बट ओनली यही मेन प्लॉट है कि एक फेमस पियानिस्ट मेन कैरेक्टर है जिसका नाम है राइडर, वो एक यूरोपियन सिटी में आ रहे हैं टू परफॉर्म अ कॉन्सर्ट, and in this particular journey he receives so many appointments, so many promises, but finally he becomes very much confused amidst all sort of things, and he finally struggles hard to fulfill his commitment. So he is actually confused, and he is very much disgusted to see so many appointments, promises, but none results into any kind of fulfillment. So finally, he struggles in his own way to fulfill his commitment. So that struggle of Ryder is revealed in the novel, The Unconsoled. That is why Unconsoled. There is no one to console Ryder in his disappointment. Right? So that is why his name is also Rider, who always rides, who never stops. You can interpret in that way also. So this is a novel by Kazuo Ishiguro, The Unconsoled. Okay. So yes. Okay, so that is about today's class. Thank you all for joining. This is the link of my Telegram channel. Those of you who have not joined yet, please join to get notification of all important classes. And also please don't forget to like, share and subscribe my YouTube channel so that many more new learners can join. And these are the timings of the classes: Monday to Friday at 8:30 p.m, Saturday, Sunday off. So don't forget to join me live. Please subscribe the channel and press the bell icon to get notification. Okay, so thank you all. Bye bye everyone. See you all Monday at 8:30 p.m in a new class. Bye bye.